Hi, I'm Leah Carey, and this is the Good Girls Talk About Sex video series. Today, I want to talk about confirmation bias and how it's actually really important to question our assumptions. I know this sounds like a totally unsexy topic, but I promise it's really not. So, when I was a kid, my father told me that I had ugly legs and that no boy would ever like a girl who had ugly legs. This was a fairly consistent message of my childhood and one that I have carried without question into my adulthood. I was always certain that I was like a second-class citizen because I have sort of heavy Eastern European legs, and that nobody could ever look at my legs and possibly be attracted to me. My dad said a lot of things, and he said them all with a great deal of certitude and authority. One of them was that John Williams, the composer and conductor, was an absolute asshole. So it happened that my dad and John Williams, who's well known for the Star Wars music and Harry Potter and a bunch of other really famous stuff, they had worked together. And in fact, I got to meet him several times as a kid. And for whatever reason, their personalities clashed. And my father was absolutely single focused on how much John Williams was a terrible person who had terrible taste. He was a no talent hack, and that he was just an awful person. I heard this throughout my childhood, and I just took it on as the truth. Anytime I heard the name John Williams, I was like, he's such an asshole. Did I have any particular personal memory of him being an asshole? No, not at all. But I had absolutely assumed that my father was correct and an authority on this subject. It was about a year ago, that maybe a little bit more, that I was listening to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. And there was a director on the show who had just finished working with John Williams on a movie. And as I recall, nobody asked him what it was like to work with John Williams. It was just like, ooh, you just did this. This is really cool. And he out of nowhere said, oh my God, John Williams is amazing. He's the nicest person in the world. He is everything that you think he's going to be and better. And I didn't know how to handle this information because it was so contrary to everything I had ever heard. But after processing it for a couple of hours, it suddenly occurred to me, maybe my dad wasn't actually right. Maybe he and John Williams apparently didn't get along, and that's fine. There's a personality conflict there. But his absolute certitude that John Williams was a terrible person, that probably wasn't true, because there are lots of people who think that he is. And therefore, his certitude that nobody could ever love me because I had ugly legs potentially also was not true. But it had never crossed my mind to question his authority on this subject. So we have a tendency to look for confirmation of those things that we already believe. I believed that I had ugly legs. And that people were going to reject me because of that. So every time I was rejected or I wasn't actively pursued, I chalked it up as an example of how I am not lovable because I have ugly legs. That is confirmation bias. What I ignored was every time that somebody showed interest in me. I wrote that off as them being crazy or broken because nobody with any sense would be attracted to somebody with my legs. So clearly they were wrong, as opposed to me questioning my own belief based on what had been told to me. So what I'm hoping you'll take away from this is that those people who have said to us, terrible things about ourselves that we have taken in and believed as absolute truth maybe are worthy of being questioned. So I want you to think about something that somebody said to you that you have taken in as the absolute truth, and think about how are you looking at the world and assuming that that is correct and confirming it based on what you're seeing. And where can you shift your focus by just a few degrees and find alternate data? Where can you look and see that perhaps those terrible things that were said to you aren't actually true, or are at least not true for every person? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. I'd love to hear with what you come up with. So please head to the comments and let's talk about this. Let's talk about the terrible things that were said to us and how we can go about dismantling those beliefs by looking for alternate data. Please share your stories so that we can support you in developing these alternate beliefs. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notified when I put out new videos. I look forward to talking to you again soon. And until then, here's to your better sex life.